From Careco TV, one of the longest-running outdoor programs on television today. Exploring the country and the coast in search of adventures. From the mountains of the Great Northwest to the shores of the Atlantic Ocean. This is Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin. Last year, Garmin debuted the groundbreaking Zero bow sight and rapidly revolutionized the world of bow hunting. This week on Americana Outdoors, Garmin's very own Rehan Nana is joining us with his Zero bow sight in hand to bring home his very first Texas whitetail deer.
So we're down here in South Texas. I think it's about 2 hours away from San Antonio. You know, I'm coming from Kansas City, hunting kind of that Midwest area. So coming down to Texas with this type of stuff, it's big country, it's beautiful, it's really interesting. You know, pulling up here, I didn't know what to expect, but there's a lot of ground to hunt here. You know, see a lot of deer already. I mean, I think I saw a couple driving in. So I was just really excited to get down here, check the place out. You know, food was already ready down here, but I was kind of champing at the bit to get out hunting. This week we're down here going after Texas whitetail. You know, you always hear about Texas deer, the size, everything about them, and so I was really excited to get the invite down here and to try out the new Zero. So Garmin Zero is Garmin's new bow sight, and it's this incredible piece of technology that incorporates both range-finding technology and bow sight into one. So really, in short, instead of having to pick up and you know, use a rangefinder and then, you know, figure out distance on your bow sight, it's all in one. It's a compact little unit that goes right on your bow like a typical bow sight. And when you're on draw, there's a button that you press and it actually gives you the range and then drops the pin on you know, a reticle dot right there to the exact yardage, which is just fantastic in my mind. And what's so nice about it is you're not, you know, splitting pins or anything like that. You get the exact yardage, it compensates for angles, and you know, it gives you that precise shooting when you really need it. I actually started shooting recurve when I was younger, and so coming into the compound with the Zero, it was a big change, but it's kind of the change that I was looking for. I mean, it was one of those things that I've been shooting it kind of just day in and day out, you know. The thing is, with that Zero, it's a fantastic piece of technology, but you still need to practice. You know, it gives you that precision in aiming when you need it, but you got to do everything up to that point. So I've been ducking out from work, you know, over lunch and getting shots in, knowing we were coming down here and hunting back on my farm and whatnot. And this entire season, every time I use it, it just kind of blows my hair back. You know, it's everything you kind of want in a bow sight. And one of the fun things that I do is just picking random spots and random angles that you'd be shooting from, and it's just dead on every time, you know what I mean? Starting at, you know, going 20, 23, 27, 30, 33, you know, 35. It gives you that exact pin every single time. You know, one of the things that the Zero won't do is, you know, you still have to know deer, you still have to practice, you still have to be comfortable, and most importantly, know your limitations. You know, for me, you know, I really felt comfortable into that 30-yard mark, especially from the sitting position. And, you know, you just kind of have to draw that line saying, while this sight can go out to 100 yards for target, you know, this is where I feel comfortable as a hunter, and that's the limitations that you have to follow. As hunters, we're always trying to make, you know, the most ethical shot, and one of the things you never want to do is lose an animal. You know, if it's deer, if it's birds, if it's anything. And so one of the things that I really love about this is that sight helps you in those situations, because instead of, you know, splitting pins and guessing yardage, when you're putting that pin on that animal, it's exactly where it should be. Down here in Texas, there's a lot of deer, and there's a lot of eyeballs on you when you're in the stand. And so having that ability not to be, you know, moving with a rangefinder and then, you know, with your bow is really, really helpful down here. You know, it's just one fluid motion up, range it, let it fly.
Visit Garmin.com to learn more about this incredible technology and add it to your collection of hunting gear. Well, coming up, Ray Hahn makes his way out into the field with the hopes of tracking down a mature Texas whitetail.
We know if you found one crappie, you may have found 1,000. We know the joy of getting your boots back in the mud. We know the journey can be more rewarding than the destination. We know the great outdoors. We love the great outdoors. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Stop by today for huge savings on the gear you need and the brands you trust. Plus free 2-day shipping at basspro.com and cabela's.com.
How do you aim a 36-yard shot with a 30-yard fixed pin at a 15-degree angle with a 7-inch holdover without moving a single pin? Easy. You get one of these. Zero, the auto-ranging digital bow sight from Garmin.
Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin, is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Garmin Zero, leave the guesswork behind. Yamaha's proven off-road ATVs and side-by-side vehicles. It's the morning of day one out here in deer camp, and a strong cold front is blown through, along with some pretty gusty winds. Let's see how it affects today's game plan.
Coming down to Texas, I thought it was going to be 65 and sunny. The weather changed pretty quick down here, and I felt like I was back home in Tornado Alley. I mean, we just had north winds going 20, 25 miles an hour. So talking with Wade, we kind of made the decision in the morning, just with the wind, to really set up in a ground blind that put up. It was on some oats, so a food plot there, and great setup, you know, back brushed in a bit there, and immediately deer started coming through. And, you know, as much as we say it as hunters, I mean, it never gets old seeing those animals, you know, in their element, doing their thing. Down here, what's really nice is they follow a management program for those bucks, and so really one of the things that we were looking for is that 4-plus-year-old 8-point, you know, 5-plus-year-old 10-point. And so that first day, while we saw some deer coming through that were nice, they were young, and it's just following that plan gives an opportunity to really have a constructive management program out here, really healthy deer, and get the opportunity for the deer that you're looking for. Rusty, we got one right over there too. Not a shooter, but. There's a good deer. You know, the wind is both, I guess, kind of your best friend and worst enemy sometimes. One of the things that's really nice is that it covers sound a lot better. And so, you know, speaking with Rusty, our cameraman, still in that low, hushed voice, but being able to just kind of communicate back and forth, you know, admiring those deer that were coming through, talking about the different ones. And so that was nice. It's sometimes it helps you out so you're not just sitting there in dead silence and dead still, you know, so a little bit more sociable aspect of it sometimes. So we're out here on day one, and we snuck in here about an hour before, just in time. Saw a nice axis come through. It was still young, and then deer started flooding in. It was great. You know, there was a couple possible shooters there, but it's day one, so we just kind of decided to pass on it. But a lot of opportunity here, and it's just great to see this many deer on day one, you know. Right now, as you may be able to tell, we got quite a bit of wind going on, and so we'll set up in a ground blind. I'm not as familiar with the ground blind as I am stands, but I was out getting shot in and everything like that yesterday. It's about 8:45 right now, and deer have kind of stopped moving through, so we're gonna turn in, get some breakfast, and then hopefully get back out here this afternoon.
During a hunt like this, where you're surrounded by large country and have little to no cell service, it's really important to have the ability to stay connected. As they make their way back to deer camp, here's a little tip on how you can stay in reach with fellow hunters or loved ones.
So you can kind of see we're just out here pretty far in the middle of nowhere, and one of the things is we lost cell service, and so you know, we've been using the inReach back and forth, but I think that this is just a prime example of, you know, being able to have the technology to be in contact with people. The inReach, I've got the inReach Mini, tiny little device, I call it the Mighty Mouse. It's a two-way SMS communication device that works on Iridium satellite. And so when you're in an area like this that's outside of cell service, you still have the ability to get in contact with, let's say, camp or, you know, loved ones back home. And then you have the SOS capability as well. You know, it's got everything that, you know, it's got weather forecasting, it's got tracking, it pairs into your cell phone for Bluetooth mapping capabilities. And, you know, you have the inReach Explorer, which is the larger unit that has screen mapping, but this Mini, it Bluetooths into your cell phone, so if you want to, you can throw that thing in your pack and still navigate off your cell phone based on the EarthMate app.
When we come back, Rayhan gives us a little insight into another vital piece of technology from Garmin before venturing right to the second half of his outing.
The all-new Yamaha Wolverine X2. With a compact chassis perfect for exploring tight technical terrain. An ultra-quiet and smooth 850 class twin-cylinder engine. And next-level versatility with a 600-pound dumping cargo bed. No other side-by-side delivers this level of proven off-road performance. The all-new Wolverine X2 from Yamaha.
Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin, is brought to you by High-Vis Shooting Systems. See what you've been missing. Stealth Cam Digital Scouting Cameras, proven. Record Rack, serious nutrition. Thompson Center, America's master gun maker. Welcome back to Americana Outdoors. Now, when we left off, Rayhan was just wrapping up the morning portion of his hunt. As he makes his way out to his next location, this time in a tree stand, let's learn about the Garmin Instinct, another rugged unit designed to withstand even the toughest terrains.
This is big country, and so the ability to have GPS, you know, and to always have GPS service out here is really kind of critical. I've been wearing the new Garmin Instinct, you know, it was made for hunters. You can see it's got that orange on it. One of the features that I really love, I mean, it can actually pair with so many different devices. Garmin's always making ecosystems of products. So one, I actually paired the inReach to it, and so you can get messages right directly on your watch. You can hit SOS if you need to. But one of the things that I really like about this watch is the backtrack feature. We were driving to the spot where that tripod was, and it was able to just immediately hit, you know, I'm going to start a GPS track right there, and it will track you all the way in. When you want to get out, what's really nice is you just hit a backtrack feature on that, and it will actually just guide you right back out. And if you start getting even a little bit off course, it lets you know, and it will get you right back on that right track. And so that way you can get back to the truck and get back home and to safety as soon as you need to.
This morning we saw a lot of deer. Wind was picking up. We're actually moved to a different ranch called the Eveline down here. And we got a nice creek bottom draw, and apparently pretty much everything moves through here, so we're just gonna kind of wait and see what comes through, but hopefully we can get our buck tonight. We already got movement down there.
Luckily that weather kind of moved through a little bit, but we still had some wind. So in that tripod with the wind. Wasn't able to communicate with Rusty on that one as much, and so it was pretty critical that we weren't moving as much. You know, you got to be careful. And when we set in, it was kind of crazy. Almost immediately we had deer coming in. I didn't even have time to put on my coat, and I think I counted about 12 deer just sitting, you know, within 30 yards of us. We had an axis come through. Then we also had, you know, just does moving through. A few small bucks. Wasn't what we were looking for, but that's patience. I guess it's a first shoot. The way that that tripod's set up, there's a couple different shooting lanes, but it's pretty, you know, there's timber and it's pretty brushy. And, you know, out of the corner of my eye, you know, I see this really, really nice buck coming through, and I just got a glimpse of him. And so immediately just kind of stopped moving. He was staying in a thicker drawl area, so just kind of slowly got back, settled in, and got a really good look at him. And, you know, immediately knew that was kind of the deer I was looking for. I mean, just immediately knew that that was in that age class that we were looking for. That was a fantastic buck. And you wish you could just draw up immediately right then. You wish he had that shot, but he didn't want to give us an opportunity. And so he stayed pretty thick. I was thinking, you know, where he was at, he was gonna kind of cruise left a little bit and give me a nice shot at about 25. So I was kind of positioning for myself for that, but it was just a waiting game there. When he gave me a little bit more of a chance to look at him, you could tell he was an old deer. You could tell that this was kind of his turf and he'd been here for a while. He had that sagging belly. He looked like he was just a little bit older, maybe smaller than he should have been. Just a really, really nice, mature deer. And when I got that, you know, first saw his rack there, you know, that's the deer I thought we were looking for. But when we got to see a really good look at him, it was solidified. That was the deer. There was no questions, and all we needed to do was have him give us a shot. Seeing that deer, I had a little bit of buck fever, and it's kind of this weird half crouching, half standing position as you're getting up. So you may see me shaking just a little bit on that one, and that's all right. You know, good deer deserves that.
Well, this buck is approaching the position for a great shot. However, like Rayhan mentioned earlier, sometimes the wind can be your best friend or your worst enemy.
Feed your need for speed. The Nitro XRT unleashes speeds up to 470 feet per second, producing 25% flatter arrow trajectory, resulting in knock-breaking accuracy and unprecedented knockdown power. The world has never seen a crossbow this fast, accurate, and compact. The Nitro XRT from 10-Point.
The thing about public land is that most people hunt the same old beaten path. The thing about you is, you're not most folks. Introducing the new TC Compass, only by Thompson Center. Follow your own compass with America's master gunmaker.
Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin, is brought to you by 10-Point Crossbows. Perfection lives here. Conquest Scents, hunting scents and dog training scents. Smith & Wesson Performance Center, performance when it matters most.
You know, communicating with Rusty, our cameraman, he's awesome. Does a great job. One of the things in that tripod is tough is that one, I was on a swivel seat, so he was behind me. He was yelling at me, hold on, hold on, hold on. But with the wind and me focused on that buck, I could not hear him for the life of me. That deer came in. He was at a little over 15 yards, 12 yards. I think I got him. I think that was a pretty good shot. As soon as that arrow's gone, you know, the work's not done. You still got a lot more to do, but, you know, I feel like I was shaking like a leaf. I was so happy. And one of the first things we did was we got out that inReach and we sent Wade a message saying, hey, buck down, you know, we got it. After the shot, you know, You always want to see a deer go down as quickly as it can, and when it ducks into that brush, it starts kind of creeping in your mind the what ifs.
Can you see your arrow? Yeah. Can you see the fletching?
Yeah.
Is it a different color at all?
The arrow?
Yeah.
No, I think there's blood on the fletching. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, let's give it 30 minutes.
When it comes to bow hunting, it's important to give the deer an ample amount of time to let nature take its course, even if you're confident you took a perfect shot. Once you're positive enough time has passed, it's time to start tracking.
In the stand, we could see there's blood right by the arrow. There's a little bit on the tree, so, we knew that we had made a good shot on it. But sometimes it doesn't, immediately bleed as much as you want for a track. And so for that first little bit, we were seeing spots here, spots there. That's when your gut kind of starts flipping and you start running through everything again. And, did I do this right? Did I do that right? Was it the shot that I thought it was? And, at that point, all you can do is really start tracking it and start looking. And luckily we have, some great people here, and almost immediately we came on just nice blood for it. 2 spots of it, so it looked like it was from both sides. I think probably within another 10, 15 yards, somebody hollered out. And when they hollered out, I knew we had it. I was pretty worried there right after we got down out of the tree. There wasn't as much blood as I had hoped, and kind of died off there a little bit, but we caught onto a nice batch, and here he is. I mean, yeah, what an awesome deer. My goodness. He spent a lot of time in the season, or a lot of time in the stand this season, and just really wasn't able to connect. But then this thing came in, and I just couldn't believe it. It was finally all coming together. And I had that Zero on there, and it was right at 12 yards, and I was like, couldn't believe that's where I thought it was going to be a further shot than that, and it's right on it, and here he is. Unbelievable.
You made a perfect shot right there, because he didn't go where, that's your tree right there.
Yeah.
He was running dead the whole time. When we talked about your hunt, the biggest thing, you didn't care how big he was as long as you made a good shot.
Yeah.
Your boss told me that you had shot the string off of this bow, that you had shot every day for lunch. And that's phenomenal. That means you care about the animal.
That's why this thing's so great. In my mind, it's that, you know exactly where you're shooting, the exact yardage. With wind, everything going on, around here and kind of going through the trees, that just really helped.
That's just too cool. I couldn't be happier.
Wade, I'll tell you what, I couldn't be happy either, so let me shake your hand again on that one. Awesome. Thank you. Hunt's wrapping up, and I've kind of just been looking back on it, and it's kind of all that, all the practice, all the arrows you're fling. First season with that Zero, I couldn't have thought of a better way to end it. This entire season I was thinking about that Zero and that buck I was hoping to take with it, and at the end of the day, everything came together. We got a really nice mature buck that had been on this property for at least 7 years. Using that Zero, we were able to get that exact shot that we needed. It went 35 yards and dropped. I don't know what more you could ask for. This is one of those hunts that everything comes together. I'm sure my next hunt's gonna be pretty bad, but for the time being, I'm gonna enjoy the moment.
Hey, thank you for watching, and join us next week on a new episode of Americana Outdoors. Americana Outdoors is a Careco TV production.
For precise prescription eyewear, Wiley X knows there's no room for error.
We meticulously craft our own prescription lenses to fit our high-wrap frames. And our ANSI safety-rated lenses are tested to uncompromising standards. Nothing but precise. Because precision is everything.
Want to know why the top shooting pros choose High-Vis? High-Vis has an enormous lineup of sights for every shooting platform possible that are clean looking and easy to mount. Improve your shooting with faster target acquisition and eliminate cross-eyed dominance. High-Vis sights are the brightest out there, helping you find your target with ease, no matter the shooting conditions. Choose the best. Choose High-Vis and see what you've been missing.
We demand a lot from the products that we use on our adventures around the world. When it comes to keeping things seriously cold, we rely on Angle coolers, who have for over 50 years kept things cold. Angle coolers, the original high-performance cooler.
What does it take to make EverCalm deer scent? It takes a deer farmer who raises whitetails. It takes mixing the special blend of EverCalm, testing each batch.
Smells like deer.
And then pouring each container. Each container is cleaned, examined, and packaged for shipping. It takes the finest deer herd and a great team of people to make the best hunting scent available. EverCalm from Conquest Scents.
Many said that we were just obsessed when we started, that there had to be an easier way to smoke food. As time passed, the Bradley family created a lineup of Bradley electric smokers that has made it easier for the novice or even expert chef to get perfect results every time they use it. Grab yourself a Bradley smoker and take your cooking to an all-new level.
We plan all year for this. We hone our skills. We have confidence in the gear we choose. We pour over thousands of images and videos. When the time comes, will you be ready? Introducing the all-new 4K camera by StealthCam. Proven.
Approximately 30,000 cases of Lyme disease happen each year in the United States. The main culprit, ticks. Stop and kill ticks in the outdoors with Sawyer's permethrin insect repellents. Sawyer, we keep you outdoors.
Protect it or lose it.
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 Protect it
or lose it. Protect it or lose it.
Tired of forgetting to set a recording or missing the latest episode of your favorite outdoors show? Check out Outdoor Action today. Never miss a second of shows like Americana Outdoors, Cabela's Fisherman's Handbook, and Whitetail Diaries. All of this at the press of a button, without a subscription fee required. Start watching your favorite shows when you want to watch them by going to OutdoorAction.com or through the Outdoor Action channel on any Roku device.